But yeah, so I mean, at least we've got Reptic this time. You know, the creator of the podcast is actually here.
For a change.
No. I was like, why is he here?
So
Mate, basically, this should just become the clinical mastermind. This.
Clinical mastermind.
just need to grab cheeky. Grab cheeky and we're all full.
I could get cheeky.
Reptic is not even talking.
What? I am, right? Clinicast.
You are now.
Clinical
Louder.
Mindset Podcast. Clinicast.
Oh,
I was talking all the time.
Oh no, yeah.
I'm chatting smack.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, so the game's coming up. You know, there's a couple of fixtures that do stand out.
Yeah.
Have you all had a look at the fixtures?
Right,
Or do you want me-
I've got them. I've got them up as we're. I've got your stream up and the.
Same.
Who do you choose to be? You know, the favorite fixture? Who do you think is the exciting fixture? Like, you know, who do you reckon it's going to be like a tight game 5 kind of scenario? Shut up with Lotus.
Who's that Lotus?
That's a hard one because I think
There's a lot.
I think there's 3 very tight. I think the standout match has to be Vision X versus Euphoria. That's a top 2 sort of. You know,
I think Juice and Team Miracle as well. Like that's gonna be a game 5 as well. Like
yeah, that could go game 5, and there's also Resurrection Fearless 5. That could, you know, but Resurrection are going to be missing a key player.
Depends who they bring in.
Yep.
But obviously, another one is obviously G-Force and Velocity. You know, if they they can bring the strong squad. I do have a little bit of information that Vaisui doesn't within G-Force anymore. You know, how much that is into that, I don't know.
But I would say to Vaisui that really think carefully, because if you opt yourself out, that's you out for the season. Like, you can't then join another team if you pull yourself out. You can only transfer to another team if you're kicked, and it's against your will. So I would think long, hard, and careful about that. And as I said last week, or during the streams this week, try and not take it so serious. Yes, we all want to scrim. Yes, we all want to have fun. Or not script, but we want to have regular teammates. But just try and have fun. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
What about Clinical and Atlantis?
Since
it's one of them for me, you know.
Until I saw it in the chat.
Atlantis kind of, you know, like I said each week, they've got a lot of potential individually, but until they find that chemistry as a team, they struggle. You know, they do struggle. But individually, you know, they're a very good team. Same with Lotus. The way that we played Lotus this week, they're very good individually. They're finding their feet of, you know, who they should pick as their main roster. And you know, they were tight games yet again. So, you know, two teams that are from the same community, but individually very good team. Still, I think very much to still prove. But you know, running obviously Kylian. Who did you choose, Kylian, for the game that kind of standout game?
I'm going with Vision X and Euphoria.
I mean, like I say, I think there's a few. You know, obviously everyone's kind of gone for a different option, different game, which I think's, you know, pretty interesting. But I think there's a lot of games this week that, you know, we could see go to a game 5. I think there's teams that are very close this week. You know, like G-Force, Velocity. You know, as long as, you know, if they don't lose Vaisui, that's, you know, me and Kyle are both featured against that team. Well, we all have, to be fair. You know, we've pretty much featured against that team and know they're a very strong side.
I think G-Force have a very chance if they keep Vasui, like Vasui is not going.
Yeah.
I think they have a chance of winning. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Um,
100%. They play well
Yeah,
enough with their teams. I mean, they have the skill for it, in my opinion. So,
just the chemistry they need to have, like
I think the most exciting game I'll see is going to be the top three.
Yeah.
The top battle of the teams at the minute is Vision X and Euphoria. I think that's going to be an interesting battle to see. Where both teams stand, because I don't think either side's really had much of a test. With kind of the teams that they've had, and they've kind of made it not look easy, but they've not really had that much of a battle to games go scoreline type of thing. And obviously Vision and Euphoria, they have that similar type of play style. As long as GCI turns up for Vision, this is the big thing for Vision X. As long as GCI turns up, they have a chance. It's going to be a tough one, very tough one.
yep.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's key points to that are down to the two GCs, Has and Dwarf, but I think you know what you're going to get out of them. They're going to play at a consistent level. I think the key battle is GCI and Aqua. It depends on, and that's no disrespect to me or Brian, but I think they two are the key. It's whoever performs the best out of those two players. I think that will edge it towards what team wins.
Definitely. Most of you catch all the games last week?
I have just not seen the Thursday games.
Same for me.
I didn't see only the Euphoria against Juice.
I caught up with all of them. So.
See, it's
Yeah, sure.
obviously you can see the results anyway. But
Yeah.
any
I missed Vision X
any surprising results for you guys? Is there any standout teams that you think they probably should?
Well, I wouldn't say that they shouldn't have won, but Resurrection beating Atlantis 3-0.
Yeah.
I think that's a standout result of not that they won, but the margin and how they won.
Yeah,
That game.
I have to say, because Atlantis took Trixie in as a new teammate, so I had a little bit hope for them to get back and maybe get wins, but Resurrection just destroyed them.
Yeah, and I believe Trixie never really played with other teammates of Atlantis. I think so, at least. So that's what making it hard as well, because
Yeah.
you have to click with each other.
To our knowledge, Trixie hasn't ever played with them players that played. But we know a lot about Trixie. As well, you especially you, Reptic and Kyle. You know a lot more about Trixie than most of us. But he's a very good player. He can form that bond with the team, and hopefully pick him up a little bit, and show a little bit about what the team's all about and what the individuals then obviously hopefully come together. But it depends on rotation side, I think. For is it Atlantis he plays for, right? I haven't got the
Yes.
teams up. Yeah. So I think it depends on that community, whether they look at rotation or they look at who best fits the starting roster. It depends what they're kind of aiming for. What were you going to say, Reptic? I'm sorry.
Nah, that's right. I was gonna say I think the Phyllis 5 versus G-Force result was pretty interesting. I thought at least G-Force. I thought it was gonna go to Game 5 personally.
I think that one is because G-Force didn't have their full team out. I think you can give that. If Shizney and Flair were playing in that game, it would be a different game completely.
Oh, was it the other three?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was Arjun, Gonzalo, and Isui that played.
Okay, even with that extra information, I still wouldn't have thought each, because it wasn't even a close series. I mean, the first game was 3-0, and then 4-0 to Phyllis 5, and then 3-1.
I mean, obviously,
it wasn't close at all.
Me and Kyle obviously commentated over that game, and Arjun got so unlucky in that game. Like, it was unbelievable of how.
Yeah, I was there.
Oh yeah, Kylian as well. It was all three of us.
The TriCast.
you know, it was unbelievable to see how unlucky, you know, Arjun was, and to finish that series without a goal. Like, you know, there's at least 3 or 4 chances where it was on the line and it got cleared off. And I mean, as in, when I say on the line, it was half and half, you know, pretty much there. But fortunately, it's the way it falls, and you know, you do get them kind of games where you feel like everything's against you. You know, it's first time in playing with a new team. You know, coming back into BGCS, obviously being in season 1 originally. You know, so it's just got to be trying to find his feet again. You know, trying to find that momentum.
Yeah, like as far as I'm aware, they 3 I think had played 1 game prior to that. You know, the 3 of them, and also, you know, Arjun, you know, doesn't really play 3s or 2s. You know, I occasionally play some games and hang out and speak with Arjun, you know, and he's just not a big fan of those game.
Yeah, he
modes
doesn't really
where
like
he-
3s, right?
Yeah, so he's more just sort of filling in, so that could also be a part of, you know, mentality struggles.
Yeah.
You know, and then Vasui was not a happy person that night, that evening anyway. So that's already gone. So that's why I didn't, you know, yeah, it's a surprising result on paper, but when you know all the backstory to it and the teams that played it, it's not a surprising result really
Yeah,
at all.
because Gonzalo had problems with his internet.
Yeah,
Then I had problems with his controller, and then his phone died, and then they didn't have comms anymore. So a lot went against GeForce that night, you know. But like I say, you know, without the strong team, it's for a team that they've not played together as much. I think, you know, that's where the downfall is, unfortunately. What are you gonna say, Kylian?
As we already said during the matches, is that it wasn't that GeForce didn't really put up a fight, but I mean, they had the pressure at some point, but they just couldn't really put the ball in the net when they were having the pressure. And
Yeah,
most of the times, it just turned out to pressure for Fearless 5, and they did score for that.
But yeah, any
and I think all the other games just, yeah, they were expected. You know, you could maybe, in my honest opinion, you know, Vision X dropping a game to Team Miracle's a bit of a surprise, and the same with Euphoria dropping a game to Juice could maybe be seen as a surprise to someone. But
obviously
apart from that,
you know, that Juice game as well, I just want to point out the 24 saves in that, you know, is absolutely incredible.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that just showed how much pressure that we had on them as a team, you know, and how many shots that were getting forced at their net. And they done well to soak up that pressure and, you know, keep the games closer than what, in my opinion, I feel they should have been.
Yeah, that's it's crazy, you know, crazy stat compared to the rest of the teams.
And also, like against Atlantis, I think Aspect showed like that he wants to be the kind of captain of the team, because I felt he popped off against Atlantis.
Yeah, he definitely did. And then it's a shame that, you know, he's picked up a game week ban, you know.
Yeah.
Because that was a very good momentum sort of for Resurrection, and not only that, but FaZe Sway himself.
Yeah,
that was good, and now the momentum sort of gets killed because of something that happened stupidly 20 minutes prior to that game.
But you know, hopefully that doesn't affect the the mentals of the team, mentals of the individual player. You know, hopefully they can carry on throughout that week. Obviously, they have got a tough game of Fearless 5. Fearless 5 have kind of proven a little bit more what they're about. You know, after they've rebuilt after game week 1. But hopefully, like I say, they don't lose that mental state. They manage to bring in a player just as capable as what FaZe Sway is. and hopefully just as adaptable as what Faceway is. But yeah, like you say, it can ruin a player's good role. He played absolutely phenomenally in that game. And like I say, unfortunately he's got the game week ban, but hopefully it'll just prove that how strong Resurrection will be if they do get a decent sub in. But yeah, I think the other game that I want to point out is obviously the Clinical Masterminds game. Obviously, it does go down as a 3-0 win, but they were very close games. Scoreline wise, it was only 1 goal difference. And this is what I say is Team Lotus and Atlantis are it's a very similar team. They're very good individually, but it's just that chemistry, that just the comms on, there's a couple of times I've seen them mention comms isn't great. They start losing a game, they fall backward and don't comm with each other. And obviously that's their little bit of downfall. They continue the comms, they continue the keep going throughout the games. Keeping that mental status. I think they could win a couple of games. They could have taken a couple of games off us. But things like that happen, and we're able to overcome it and see out the 3-0 victory. But something I do want to point out as well is we've only had 2 5 games. We started off the podcast as these teams are very close. They're going to see a lot of 5 gamers. We're going to see a lot of this, a lot of that. But we've had 2 in 3 weeks.
Yep.
I think that there has been 2, but as you said, most of the games have been like very close, like 1 or maybe 2 goals separated.
But yeah, I think that's that's what I was about to say is you can't just because you see results of a 3-0 sweep or can't just rule that and say, oh yeah, that team dominated, because you look at you look deeper in and you look at the results individually for them 3 games, they are like 1 goal difference or a 2 goal difference.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's for us as casters, it's it's a shame it doesn't go to a lot more 5-game thrillers.
5-game thrillers are some of the best games to cast.
But I think we do get thrillers in 3-0s as well, to be fair, because they're so close. We want the 5 games, but we get the close games anyway. But yeah, what were you going to say? Sorry, I cut you off.
I was just going to say, like that, I remember that G-Force Team Lotus and that Juice Velocity game from the first game week. And I'm pretty sure they were back-to-back games as well.
Yeah.
That was 2 of the best and my most favourite games that I've commentated on, or casted, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And from the entire season 1 and this season, it was just, it gets your adrenaline pumping.
But that's the thing. Like the teams are so close with what's it called?
Skill?
Contribution.
Stats?
Just
Points. Goals.
no, rank wise,
Oh right.
just we're getting so close to each other as players. Like everybody's getting better at the game, so it's getting closer and closer, like game differentials. So that's nice to see.
Yeah, definitely.
Like if you compare it to season 1 and compare it now to season 2, it's like
it's a lot
so
more
much closer games.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, there's 3 people sat on 9, and the rest are pretty close as well. There's 4 sat on 3, 1 and 6. I mean, everyone but 1 pretty close.
Yeah.
So yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it is. It's a very as much as the scorelines don't look at it, make it, but it is a lot closer. The games are closer. There's not really been many blowout scores like a 5-6 nothing.
Yeah.
I actually don't remember any at all. Maybe 1 or 2 games that have went like that.
But as well for the stats in game, like season 1, you could see the top player had like 700 points, and 2 other players were maybe at 200, 300. And
Yeah,
now
clinical
it's all
masterminds.
closer. Yeah, and now it's all much closer to each other as well.
Like the MVP are always different. Like sometimes it's the champ, sometimes it's the other champ, or sometimes it's the GC. Like it's
Yeah,
very
exactly.
different.
Yeah, definitely.
It's so nice.
Yep.
Hello, Brooks.
Hello, sorry about that. I'm just going to sort the dog out.
Oh, you're fine.
But yeah. Do you want to do team of the week, or do you want to bring in the person first and
I say we do team of the week first.
No, I think we should definitely bring the guest in
Yeah,
and,
get this.
and
To
do
part-
team of
to-
the week.
to participate with team of the week? Yeah.
Yeah, because both guests prior, all the guests prior, have all had their say in team of the week as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is there anything else that you want to cover before we bring the person on, or do you think we've covered pretty much everything that we can?
I think we're fine.
Yeah, I think we're
Yeah,
good.
we
Yeah,
covered, I think, everything.
and we need a Kylian drum roll for who our guest is.
This might be a while.
My eyes are getting tired.
Better keep on going. Everyone asks you to stop.
Yeah.
What, we in private?
Yeah.
Thank you, Trident. It's a mess, my hair today. I'm just letting it be wild.
Well, welcome, Jazzman.
Yes,
hello.
hello.
Welcome
The
to the
guest
podcast.
Welcome
is
in.
none other than the season 1 champ himself.
That's it, mate. You got the veteran on.
Yes, the veteran champ and my glorious teammate, Jazzman.
6464.
Yep.
Got like a 6464 on the end. But yeah, what did you make of the games? I'm guessing you got a chance to have a look at the games.
Yeah, I had a look yesterday. I liked like how back and forth a lot of the games were. I think it keeps it interesting. You know, I think a lot of the players are very close, like you were just saying, and I think it makes for better games potentially than season 1.
Yeah, season 1 where you just battered everyone.
Yeah, but that's because they can't guard us, bro. You already know that.
But no, yeah, they're very close games all round. As I said when you were away, Brooksy, I don't think there's been any just whitewash games where a team loses 6-0.
Yeah.
I can't recall any.
Not that I
I
can
think,
think of.
I think the most we've had is like 3-0. What's not
Yeah.
a lot, really.
Or 4-1, I think, was
What's not a lot.
the largest
4-0.
I
I
can
see
see.
1-4-0.
Yeah, like you compare it to season 1, with with finished gaming in there, obviously there were a lot of results where you'd see it as a 5-0, 6-0, 7-0.
Yeah.
You'd see a lot of results like that, because there was so much difference between the teams, last season. Obviously Mischievous 3 came in halfway through. They gave the battle, to try and make themselves up the table. But luckily for for finished as well, like they didn't start as right at the start for everybody, because I feel like they could have taken that for that season.
Oh yeah, if that
If
was
they began if they began that,
Yeah,
because they were a very strong team. But taking that away, you finish storm through every week. Pretty much storm through every week. And it's very interesting to see the difference from season 1 to now season 2, to see where the teams kind of lie, and you see yourself as unfortunately you're not a main player this year, but you get to see ins and outs of games a lot more, of how close games are.
I had to beg this man to be sub.
It is nice to see you back though. It's nice to see a few of the older faces from season 1 come back into season 2. There's yourself that's come back in. There's Bale. There's Arjun. There's a couple of faces that are now being slowly drafted back into season 2 that unfortunately disappeared. But But yeah, like you say, they're very close games. They're very exciting games. And obviously it makes it easier as well because we do team of the week. So we choose 1 GC and 2 champs. Who you think were the best players, the best standout players in each game. But yeah, so does anyone want to take the first punt of dropping the ocean first, or?
I mean, I've got an answer.
Okay.
On you go.
I've got one answer. It might sound a little bit biased, but I'm gonna put Aqua forward.
Okay.
I just think he played a lot. He seems to play a lot faster than a lot of people on the field, and I think he's got the mechanical ability to like control the pace of the game. And I feel like sometimes without that, we'd have struggled a lot more than we did.
Yeah. Obviously, you get to pick a full team as well, Jazz. You don't have to just pick just the one. So you got one champ and 1 GC left. But if you want to have a little think about it,
Yeah, I'll have a think.
Back to you.
I'll go.
On you go.
Well, I had the GCI. I had to think about the champs as well. But I mean, if you've got the whole roster, you can go first. Bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got my roster, I think.
Right,
Yeah.
So for my GC, I'm going to put forward Dwarf. I think Dwarf. Dwarf played, phenomenal. That is one game that I catched up on, is the Vision X game. And then just looking at his numbers here as well, his stats were very, very good. Very good defense, especially.
I think Dwarf is a great player, to be honest.
Oh yeah, he's a phenomenal. He was close. He could have got it last week. On the one that I missed, I probably would have voted him then as well. But he put up very similar numbers this week. But I feel he played better this week, and especially defensively. I think he kept Vision X. He kept it from being a closer game.
Yeah.
I think it could have been a 3-2 if it wasn't for him.
He's very consistent as well, I find. Like he controls the game a lot more, a bit like what I said with Actor, but like you kind of know what you're gonna get, but then he can sometimes put on a performance on top of that as well.
And then my first champ is going to be Mr. Jonah himself. I didn't see the game. I'm going purely off numbers here for this one, but having 4 goals, 2 assists, and 10 saves. 10 saves is absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, I think the champ has to go down to one of them. Has to go down to Jonah. That was a phenomenal. And then my second champ is, as much as I don't want it, but for his midweek actions, but it has to be Aspect or Face Sway, as other people know him. He was outstanding in that Resurrection team. He drove them home to a win there, and made it look easy as well. So yeah, that's my 3: Jonah, Aspect, and Dwarf.
Who's gonna go now?
Yeah, I'm not ready.
I think I agree with Kyle for Dwarf. But I'm still deciding on my other champ.
You're going with Dwarf for your GC.
Yeah.
Mine's pretty. Mine is fucking bang on Kyle's team. The team that Kyle's picked is, based on numbers and based on how they've played, is you can't choose anybody else. Their stats are very good. Obviously, I said myself already that GCI didn't play great for Vision X, and for Dwarf obviously as the GC to stand up and hold the team together. Like Jazz has also said, he's also got that little bit of talent to produce and show off. He's got the talent there to do it, and obviously when GCI is lacking the little bit of performance he's got, and Dwarf can step up and be the player to do that and prove that this week. He's all talk every week, and everyone's been waiting for him to prove it. To prove that what he's about, and I think he proved it this week. But yeah, for me, it's the same as I'm going with the same as Kyle this week. I can't choose anyone different.
All right.
Jonah and Faceway, as clinical side. Me and Reptic have already mentioned it. We felt like we didn't play well individually, and Jonah held the team, to keep performing. And yeah, well played to Jonah this week. There's a couple of times that he puts too much pressure on himself, and and says that he doesn't play well, and he doesn't do whatever. But this week you smashed it out of the park. You played very well. So for me, it's the same pick as you, Kyle. Dwarf, Jonah, and Faceway. Obviously the last one being it's an awkward pick. Down to the game week ban. It puts a little bit of downer on the option, but you can't take away the performance. If you put it into the football aspect, people that get red cards, they might have played absolutely unbelievable for that game and then get it towards the back end of the game, and you can't disagree that they didn't have a good game. So yeah, for me it's the same pick for me: Dwarf, Jonah, and Faceway.
Right. Okay. So I would have went Dwarf, but I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna say that.
You can still pick the same people if he's your pick, and because that you can still pick the same people, Reptic, because it'll save a vote if a unanimous the way it has been working. If we unanimously pick a player, they automatically get in. It's when the other ones is kind of split.
Yeah.
That we put it to a vote. So it's completely. Don't let that sway your opinion that other people have picked it.
I'm gonna go Dwarf then. But if I didn't, I was gonna go Christian if not. But I'll stick with Dwarf.
Yeah.
And then for my champ, Trixie, even though they lost 3-0, I think
Trixie's not a champ.
Trixie's
not.
GC.
Me. Sorry. Oh, okay. I'm gonna go Brian. For Vision X. Vision X. I think Kylian GCI. I don't think he's having a good series at all. And I think Brian and Dwarfbutt stood up to the challenge. Obviously, Dwarfbutt getting all the goals. I don't think Brian actually even going on. But Brian kept the midfield of what I watched. Eddie he was the one that covered a lot of GCI's mistakes. And I'm not trying to shit on GCI, but yeah.
I think that's
a lot of mistakes.
That's some things that you pointed out there. Is it's not always about stats. You might not get on the leaderboard for the assists, you might not get on the leaderboard for the goals, but you can be that middleman that distributes the ball or makes up for somebody else's mistake, and you don't get credit for that. But as us that watch the games regularly or go back over games, we notice it. We notice the individual player that that does do well. And I think that's a good pick, to be fair. A very good pick.
And then other champ, I actually have no idea.
Nice.
Well, think about it.
Little think about that one.
I think I'm gonna agree with Kyle with Jonah as my other champ, as my last champ.
Yeah. I
think so. I just think, especially for the team he's in, he just holds it down. He's a very solid player, very I just think he deserves that third pick.
Thank you.
You get a bit of everything from Jonah. You can get a bit of really good mechanics going for flip resets. Because you don't see many of the champs going for the flip reset and the crazy air dribbles. Yeah. Whereas Jonah does mix that in to his game, but you also get good defense. The only time that Jonah, in my opinion, starts to slip is when he sometimes goes for a wee wander for a boost that he shouldn't go for, But that didn't happen. That didn't happen that week. It was just clean rotations. And that's why you got the 10 saves because, it was clean.
Yeah, he didn't. To be fair, he didn't have a split second to think about going for a boost pad. You know, in that game
Yeah.
we were under pressure all the way through. You know, there was no second thought of having to think about a boost pad. And I think some games where you don't have a lot of pressure, you can think about it more and go, I'm just going to go for that boost pad instead because I'm not under pressure. So I'm going to go for the boost pad and then try and get the save. But because we were so much, because we were so much under pressure, you know, the rotation side was spot on. And like I say every week, you know, you've got to stop being so hard on yourself every week. And, you know, and believe, you know, listen to everybody here. You know, it's not just me saying it. You know, listen to everybody that, you know, what is everyone saying. You've got to stop being so hard on yourself.
Yes,
I know. I know.
I'm doing that for you. You don't have to do it.
Agreed.
I think we're just needing Jonah and Kylian's picks now.
Yes, sir.
Reptic just last champ pick.
Yeah, last champ.
I can sneak that in. I'll get it.
I'm going for Trixie as GC. Even if they didn't win, I felt like Trixie showed great play. Like, was good to see how he played. So as my champ pick, I go with Faceway as well. He stepped it up like his game. That it's just he played so
definitely
insane.
did.
He showed it, and everybody's gonna think maybe that I'm weird for this pick, but I'm going for Taku. I just feel big gasp.
Yeah,
I think he deserve. He can be better, but I think he deserves it.
Yeah, I have to say, of someone who played against him, that's the best version of Taku I've ever played. So yeah, I can completely back that Taku, and it's very noble of you to not nominate yourself there, because I know if I had a game like what you had, I'd be voting myself.
I won't. I will never. Like,
Next week, also Jonah.
Yeah. No, I will never. I will always pick someone else, not myself.
And then Mr. Kylian?
I'm going GC for Aqua.
Aqua's not a GC.
Oh wait, hold up. I got fake.
Makes me even better then, surely, right?
Well, Aqua.
Oh shit. Huh? I got fake. What the?
You good?
No. I'm flabbergasted.
He's in the mud.
I'm deep in the mud.
Wait, so what did you draw for champs?
Jonah and Taku.
Ooh. Interesting.
Fair, but you got to dwindle that down to just 2. So you got to get rid of 1. And then you got to choose a GC.
This week's not scuffed at all.
Let's see. Jonah. I'm gonna go crazy. Hold up. No, I'm in the mud. I can't think anymore. I thought I had it.
It's all good.
All right. I'm gonna cut in.
Yeah, you got your other champ.
Yeah, I was gonna go Hamish.
Hamish?
Yeah, I mean, Faceway got all the glory because he was the one pushing everyone through. But I think Hamish kept the backfield clean, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
He was the one just getting the ball out the side every time they needed him.
Yeah, he was the one I kept struggling to get the ball past.
To be fair, you know, the 2 picks that you've made there, Reptic, the 2 players that don't get credit, you know, the 2 players that don't get credit for the scoreboard options is Hamish and Brian. You know, Hamish has done it every week. You know, they've played. Mm-hmm. He's always been that middleman, or he's always been the man that gets that clear and, you know, picks up the pieces. You know, puts them back together.
To be fair, on the stats end, he drew or got more than Faceway in everything but goals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they had very, very similar games. Yeah, but as they say, it's like the goals win the games. You know, you can do all the defending and all that, but if you can't score, it's going to be very hard to win a game. So that's where I picked Aspect over Hamish.
Yeah.
not taking anything away from Hamish. Yeah, like Hamish has shown real good, not just skill but improvement over the 3 games. You know, and these numbers are showing that they're gradually, you know, sneaking up each week. So yeah, yeah, Hamish is underrated. Agree with what Dwarf says in chat there. But yeah, it's a good pick.
I agree. Hamish
Okay.
is very consistent.
See now, yeah.
Yes. Okay. My GC is gonna be Arjun. I mean, he was unlucky with the games. He just couldn't take 1 goal, but still he was showing what he's capable of. Even though the games weren't that great for them. But I mean, we all know how Arjun can play. And I think if he focus a bit more with G-Force and maybe get some more time playing with them, that is gonna be back on the same route as season 1.
Agreed.
Yep, 100%. Good pick.
Agreed.
And Moose
And
was
then as champs, it's gonna be Aqua and Jonah.
Yep.
Because Aqua, as what you guys already said, he's just a very fast player and he has some good mechanical sides to him. And I think that's taking him away a bit from the other champs, and definitely with how fast he is.
Yeah, some good picks.
How do you want to work this one this week? There's pretty much a standout team this week.
That's what I was just about to say. I don't. Yeah, it's. I
Because
think
there's 3 for Faceway, there's 4 for Jonah, 4 for Dwarf.
Yeah,
That's
that
well done.
I think, and I know that's mine and your actual picks, Brooksy, but I genuinely don't see how it can go to anyone else but those 3 people.
Yeah.
That's just my personal opinion. Like
I think
3
normally
of people played outrageously good.
Yeah,
I think-
they deserve it, right?
Yeah, I think normally we have the selected that we're pretty further apart from each other. You know, we normally don't have either similar picks or there's only normally two of one person. And the fact that there's more of us this week and we've still near enough picked at least one player the same, is mental.
Yeah.
But yeah, so for the game week 3, it's going to be Dwarf as the GC, Jonah as the champ, and then Faceway as the other champ to fill.
I think it has to be that. It's
Definitely.
just
Good. That's your
There
team
you
of the
go.
week.
an easy. No vote. Unlucky Twitch chat. You don't get to vote, but there's always next week.
Yeah, there's always next week when there's less of us and the numbers aren't as close together. But I think everyone played well. Everyone that's been picked here is solid picks. Arjun for the GC, Trixie as a GC. They both had decent games. They were just fortunate that they couldn't click with the team, or they just couldn't get the. For Arjun, he just couldn't get the ball over the line. Brian and Hamish, two individual players that are very good for their teams. Not stat based, but for the play in the middle of the park, they make it work. They make the team move and revolve around them. But yeah, I think it's a clean sweep for the team that's got picked, but the other players need to recognise.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's so many players that just do a lot of work for their teams that don't get points. That like the breaking up the midfield, breaking up the infield passes. They're just getting good clears on the ball that aren't saves or that. They're just good clears, relieve the pressure.
Yeah.
You get all that, and there's players out there that do that. Who it's just a shame that the stats don't tell that part. You have to be watching the game to see that happen.
Yeah, and I think that's
Um,
one of the main reasons why teams win games, right? Like I can obviously speak from experience in season 1. I think Bonk as a third man is like the perfect example of that style of player, right? He doesn't get that much recognition,
Yeah.
but if we didn't have him, we we would have fallen apart. He's like controls the whole back of the field and just like an absolute rock in defense.
yeah,
So players like that, I think, don't need to go under the radar.
I mean, the demos from Bonk last
Yeah, I
season,
know.
you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's 4 main reasons we won. Demos and him being in defense were 2 of them. So
Yeah, he was crazy with the demos.
No, but it works. It worked for yours and Ertz's play style. You know, you two are very, very pushy players.
Yeah.
You know, and you wanna get the goals between you both.
yeah,
You know, and you two would, kind of battle that out. You know, you to see who can get the most goals in a game. And obviously that does leave Bonk to, defend defend that back line on his own. But he's capable of it. So why not play to them strengths?
yeah. I think like having him in defense has allowed us to do that as well. Like we always said we always knew our role. He was third, I was second, Ertzi was first, right? So
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think our roles are pretty like cut and dry.
You could tell very
Yeah.
much. You know, when watching your games, very much routine, set way that you guys played.
Yeah, I mean, there's always like I think that's also because we've been playing and we're friends outside of like.
Yeah,
BGCS,
that's another thing that we always pick up is the chemistry side of things. You
I
know,
mean, we have fucking the chemistry is unreal, right?
chemistry isn't real.
And one thing I think some teams this season are lacking on, and is I think now if we got back if we could get back together, we'd still be the best in his comms. 100%. I think our comms were a massive reason why we were dominating games.
Yeah, comms is so underrated in BGCS, I think, and I think that comes down to there's a lot of young people within BGCS, so there's a lot of awkwardness, and then obviously, the younger ones tend to have a worse mentality. So when mentality goes out the window, so does your comms.
Yeah.
And that's where I've been. I can speak on our team. Like our team only have 2/3 of a com because Haz doesn't speak, and I don't even know if you know that, Jazz.
No, I do.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, so it's just me and Aqua, and then Haz is there. He's listening, but he doesn't speak. You waffle rubbish, Trident. I've heard your comms. I've been part of your comms, and you just start waffling.
You don't want to be a part of it.
But yeah, so it's just me. I'm literally there just to try and calm down Aqua, because Aqua can really beat himself up. Yeah, we've played a few games now, the 3 of us, and that's what I always try and do. I always try and keep Aqua just a bit grounded and get him not dwelling on his mistakes.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of team struggle. They don't have that player that can just calm them down, and I think that's I can see that's what probably Dwarf's like.
Yeah.
With GCI, but I don't know Brian. I don't know his age or anything, but I know GCI is still young. But yeah, that's the comms, and being we've finished for a couple of months, a month. The comms were just a different level. That's where I've learnt them. That's one of the main reasons why I moved to Finished.
Yeah, I mean our comms in actual games as well were a lot different from scrims. Like they're I think even now we'd by far have the best comms in the league, and I think if you've got good comms and you've got a good mentality, which we did, I think us 3 me, Ertzi and Bonk are not necessarily the most skilled players individually or whatever, but if you've got things outside the game, like chemistry, comms, and like good mentality, that takes it so much further than being able to flip reset. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah. And I mean, okay, yeah, comms are great, but it still doesn't say anything. Just take Juice as an example in season 1. Like, okay, we lost loads of matches with the official tourney, but when we were scrimming, we weren't really coming at all. We were just making fun of each other, shouting at each other and stuff, and we were basically like almost unbeatable. And I believe we beat you guys as well in scrims. But then in the normal matches, yeah, we just messed it up with the comms, and the mentality wasn't really there at that point. But
I mean,
yeah, even though without the comms, if your mentality is great and your player awareness is great, then you can still
but
get
I think in
far.
season 1 we were scrimming the most. Like we were looking for scrims like almost every other day, right? So
Yeah.
I think that gave us the opportunity to be able to have like serious scrims, like all the other teams were having, and then also the scrims that you just mess about in.
Yeah.
But we're still getting the same amount of practice because we're scrimming double as much as other teams. So if you can get that balance, then I think like you're onto a winning formula.
Definitely.
Crown and Jules, were perfect, to be fair. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, they were the cream of the comms.
We took inspiration from you, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone should take the take it from take the comms and the mentality of that team. I think they should go in hand in hand, right?
Ooh.
And speaking of Crown and Jules, I seen that one of the old members is looking for a team. If there's any teams out there that need a champ or want to change up and want a champ, he's a very good player to maybe approach and ask. It's Lampo. I seen he's put him in he said for season 3, but I'm not sure if he realizes that their subs you can switch out players. So yeah, if you did need someone, or if you're building a team for season 3, he's definitely one. He's a very good player.
Yeah, he's messaged me a few times, saying that he wants to get back in. He wants to be back in season 2, and obviously I've said certain things about his Crown and Jewels last season, but it's not the player that I thought it was that gave the problems. And everyone everyone that's been in season 1, I don't want you to look at that and think, yeah, but Brooksy didn't go. Brooksy didn't stay with them. He left. I left because of certain reasons, but it wasn't Lampo. You can do the maths of who that's about.
Also,
you can add that up. Down on you.
That team was built from
somebody else.
A beat poll, because I don't want to swear for the YouTubes.
Big men.
and that's where that all came. That all stemmed from that one person, and it just bled into the team. So it's nothing about the individuals on the team. It was sort of embedded in the team from what it was made from who it was made from.
I just wanted to make that clear because I don't want people just to stay away from Lampo just because of that reason. I want him to be picked up. I want him to be in season 2 or season 3. I want him to be around. At the end of the day, he enjoys the community. He enjoys what we put together, and he wants to be a part of it.
And just to add to that, obviously, season 1 we scrimmed you probably the most because other teams were terrified of us because they cannot guard. But so we were scrimming you a lot, and Lampo was one of the players that causes the massive issue. He's a big threat on the field, and he's a really good player to pick up.
See, the thing is with Lampo, he's a massive freestyler player.
Yeah.
Doesn't really want to be that competitive player. He's always been the freestyling player, and I think stuff that he learns is incredible, and things that you can bring to the table and add into the game is, people can't read that. Very very little players do stuff that Lampo does. that's just because that's how Lampo plays. You know, he plays the competitive style. It does add that little bit of interest into the team. You know, get him in.
There's Trident saying that Lampo's not interested in season 2. He just wants to let this ride out and focus on season 3.
Yeah,
So there we go. You can all fight over him for season 3.
I want him.
But this is a nice wee
What do you mean,
segue.
you're a sub? How?
I don't care. He's mine.
Well,
This is a nice wee segue into what I wanted to speak about, because there's a lot of new people here. There's a lot of all of us were part of season 1,
Yep.
and I just wanted to have a wee sort of section to speak about season 1 and sort of reminisce, seeing as if we got the champ
That's it, mate.
with us, you know, and just, you know, ask Jazz some questions about, you know, what team, like, I'll start off, like, what team did you take away Mischievous Free coming? Because they were just a cheat code that happened midway through the season. But what team did you, like, feel gave you the most problems and that you feared the most?
It's Crown and Jewels, right? I mean, they were second place on the leaderboard, and there's a massive point difference between second and third, and at some point, first and second were pretty close. They'd beat us a few times in scrims. Like, it was they caused us the most issue just because we weren't used to being pressured that much. I think that was the main issue. Like, when you've got unpredictable players like Lampo, they can put that pressure on that other teams just can't.
Yep, definitely. I'm just trying to go through and see what.
And I think obviously the game that, you know, it decided the title for us, right? Is the game between us two. You know, that determined who was first and second. And, you know, the demos that I've already pointed out from Bonk, you know, that got to a few of the team members. You know, it got to him a lot of demo wise, and, you know, that were it. Then mentality just straight out the window. You know, it was tight at the start, and then as soon as the demos come into play, that were it. Mentality disappeared, and, you know, that's where we fell apart. I think
We're quite good at adapting. I feel like, say for game 1, we try and just out pressure the team. If we realise we can't do that, we'd slowly break them down to the just even if they're not exactly feeling it, just little things, just you know, keep them under pressure the whole game, and even if they score a few goals, then it doesn't really matter.
But yeah, we, you know, like Kyle just said, at least we can reminisce on season 1. We never really, you know, we didn't have the podcast for season 1. You know, it wasn't set up, it wasn't anything to do, and, you know, it's nice to have you on, you know, to not only, you know, speak about this new season, but, you know, to go back into past teams and, you know, what's kind of changed to, you know, the scores and, you know, teams in general. And obviously, you know, as like I said, you know, because you're not a main player, it's nice to have you on, you know, to be involved a lot more in the season.
Yeah.
I feel like Kyle's wanting to ask a question. I keep seeing.
It's just more like I don't think there is one single returning team apart from Clinical. I think they're the only team that is from season 1, which...
What, name-wise?
Yeah, name-wise. But yeah, there's no... It just shows that there's no team that is the same team from season 1. And I think that will be the same going through all the seasons, because people are going to lose, you know, be made champ, be made GC, and new players are going to come in, I think, every season as it grows.
Yeah.
But my question I was going to ask anyway was, who was your standout sort of player that impressed you the most? And this is for everyone, because we were all involved. Who was your sort of standout player that impressed you the most throughout the whole season? If you can remember, sort of just someone, in season 1, that just someone that sticks in your head that stood out to you.
Can someone else go? I'll have a think about it. But
I think we all have to think about it.
For me, it was Shizney. You know,
Mhm.
I'm gonna throw it straight out there. Is Shizney? You know, a very good defensive player. I remember commentating over a lot of their games. You know, okay, they finished towards the bottom of the table, but defensively and as that third man role, he played very well. You know, it was unfortunate that they couldn't get things going as a team. And like I say, fall on Flair, GCI. These guys weren't consistent. The two players that weren't consistent throughout that thing, but Shizney, stood out for me every time we commentated over games. Very good defensive player, and very good all round. To be fair, and obviously coming into this season, he's not as much as the third man. He's trying to be that further up player this season. That's the player that stood out for me.
Yeah, I definitely, that's a good pick. And casual esports as a whole, their downfall was more their team cohesion just didn't work. They were always, I remember it, arguing and bickering, and me and you were in there trying to sort stuff out between them all constantly. And that's, I think, what made them worse in the league table. Not the individual players themselves, but all three of them together. They just didn't work and get on well with each other. But I will go next. My standout player is Ben. Ben was Ben from Three Amigos was outrageous. Like, I love Arjun to bits, and Stealthlin I respect a lot in the game, but Ben was that team. Like, he every week sort of where all three of them played. Dominated, take away and even in some of the 2v3s that they done, he was.
I mean, I agree with what Trident's just said in chat there. It's, me and my bed had 99 chemistry.
Yes, very true.
I mean, you're not
wrong.
Oof.
Yeah, well, I hope that chemistry goes down this season.
It's going to be the couch this time.
Especially in ERS.
Yeah.
I think I have my pick.
What?
I'm gonna not say someone from my team, and I will say I think you, Brooksy. I think in pre-season scrims, you weren't that much of a threat. I would say from about game week 5 to 6, we noticed all of a sudden you seem to be like really strong in game, and it was weird because it seemed almost out of nowhere. Like, I don't know what happened, but out of nowhere you seem to cause us a lot more issues, and I feel like because you're surrounded by more mechanical players, I feel like I went under the radar a bit. But I think you put a really strong effort in.
Yeah, from game week 4, Brooksy started to. That's when you started to improve, and you could see it in the numbers. You went 3-1-3. That's goals, assists, saves, and then 2-2-2, then 2-3-3, and then you went 4-3-5. Then you obviously got the bye, and then you went 5-1-4, 2-4-3. You just started to consistently get better and better, and that's going on now. That's still continuing. Your growth is every week. And obviously this week you didn't have the best of weeks, but you're not going to play well, as Dwarfbot said. You're not going to play well every week, but every week you are consistently growing.
Yeah, I mean, in season 1, out of 29 games played, he had 23 goals and 28 saves. So I mean, that's not statistics to be ignored, right?
It's not.
Yep.
Yeah, look, obviously, as a lot of know, is I struggled through season 1, with the team that I had, just mentally and com wise, it wasn't great. I didn't want to turn up for games. I've spoke to you, Kyle, about it. And obviously this season I feel a lot more confident. I challenge for pretty much most things now with, I know the person's there to not only back to what I do, but don't criticize either. It don't matter, forget it, move on.
Yeah, you're the goat, so.
Whereas as last time, you felt like you were being criticised for what you did, and it's I appreciate you pointed out. So
Who's
it's
going ahead?
it's either Kylian, reptic, or Jonah up next.
I will go. I'm going for Urshi.
Yes, back
I-
the boy. Come on.
I loved how he played like in season 1. And as a person as well, he was a great guy. So yeah, I felt like he played insane. Just all the Finnish boys, yeah, was lovely to see actually. So.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I didn't pick anyone from Finnish because, yeah, they all they won it. They won it, so they're all standout players just on that alone. But yeah, Ertzi was just a pain in the butt to play against. I remember our game. I was always shouting the effing and the jeffing at Ertzi.
I think that's it for Ertzi as well, right? He moved to PC throughout that season, and that's where Ertzi transformed. He became unbelievable. He was unbelievable anyway, but he made that a little step further when he got in.
If Ertzi somehow makes a return at any point, he's gotten even better than what he was. So
Oh yeah, I can quite believe it. Yeah.
yeah, expect he's going to be a very strong player.
So
I'd
Kylian,
say
Yeah, I'm
Oh.
gonna.
What? Yeah,
denied.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna choose Kyle. Because just as Brooks, you were two players that weren't really active at the start of the season. Then around mid-season, you two started growing. And that was every week. You started seeing some better things that you guys put on the field. And I don't think there were a lot of players that were able to do that. That you really saw the growing every week.
Yeah, I would. I appreciate that, but I think Cheeky is the more
Cheeky,
of the
definitely.
grower in that team. Yeah, Cheeky. He was more of the grower.
Chuki played very well. Obviously at the start of the season, like you said, he doesn't really play that often. When BGCS was most of the time that he played, and every time that we watch over games, it were, oh, Cheeky's going for more stuff. Cheeky's going, he's gaining more confidence as the weeks were going on, and you saw that towards the back end of the season, and it was nice to see. And obviously that was another one of my players that could have been in there. Is Cheeky? The way that he evolved as a player is unbelievable. Obviously we say 9 weeks, but realistically 9 weeks isn't a long time. One game every week isn't long. And to improve the way he's improved is crazy.
I definitely think us as a team, if we didn't have the horrendous start with, not blaming anyone, but Reptic's computer and internet issues.
If only you moved that
would have-
magnet. Only you moved the magnet.
That magnet.
You moved
All right,
the magnet
okay.
away. But yeah, with there's something that Kyle is obviously going on with there is it if without the issues, you guys were a very
I think
good
we
team.
I think we could have been up there challenging as well, but
Agreed.
that wasn't to be.
Shit happens. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Things happen.
yeah, it was fun. That's why I don't care, win or lose. I don't care.
Trying to catch up was fun, to be fair.
Yeah, and well, we did start. We would have got third if we didn't get robbed by the broken team. But yeah, it was. I'm here for fun, to meet new people and make friends, and that's why I never get angry or salty about losing. Anything, because the amount of good people I've met through this and the amount I've learnt in Rocket League is just through BGCS
Can I
is
jump just on
phenomenal.
that? I would, if there was a vote for most improved player since season 1, I would 100% put you down. Like, you're so much more mechanical than you were before. Like,
I think
it's a massive difference.
my fingers are getting loose. That's it. And I'm genuinely, because I've started working now, my arthritis in my fingers is a lot less like prevalent. So my fingers are a lot more loose, and I can do a lot more. Like I can flick my car round faster because I can move my thumb quicker rather than like try to turn a double decker bus. But yeah, the most improved for me would be Brooksy. Like it's unreal. When I first came about this community, like no offense, Brooksy, you could barely like aerial,
It was a
and
honk.
now
He was
yeah, and now you're off the wall flip
It's all those
reset.
1v1s.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
and
this is
it
the
is.
thing, it's down to the viewer tourneys. It's down to playing you guys. I enjoy playing the higher rank players. When everyone says, "Yeah, but I'm this rank, I'm that rank," I don't care. I'd rather play you. It's
Yeah.
more of a challenge. It's more of a
Yeah.
time to be able to develop. It's not that, but I then get to watch how you guys play, and oh, that's how you do this. That's how you do that. I'm gonna try that next game, and if it doesn't work, I'll try again, and it's perfected from there.
Before everyone started talking about Cheeky, I was gonna say him.
Yeah,
For my player.
Sorry, we've robbed it off you.
Nah, that's all right. I was gonna say him because I mean, the first couple of weeks wasn't the best because obviously he never used to play, but then he just started coming out of nowhere, doing aerials. I mean, doing everything. He was saving my ass a lot. That's all I can tell you.
I can, for Cheeky, obviously me and Cheeky have been friends since we were about 11, 12. So we've been friends for a very long time. We've been friends longer than most of you have been alive out there. Me and Cheeky have been friends for about 22 years.
Back when tellies were black and white.
And I think that is most every one of you except from Brooksy in this Discord. We've been friends longer than you have been alive. And I've seen him, he is one of the quickest learners of games I have ever witnessed. And me and him grew together through on Rocket League. And if he had put the time that I'd put in, because he worked a lot. He was at college and university when we started, and then he was like a full-time manager working 70 hours sometimes a week. So he just didn't have time to play. So he stopped. I think we stopped round about Diamond. Diamond 1, maybe Platinum 3. And then I obviously continued to play because I didn't work and just sat and played Rocket League most of the days. So I grew up. And then he came back to when he got a less stressful job. He came back and just slotted in straight into champ games from like low diamond plat to playing at my champ 1, champ 2 level. He just came back like one night we got demolished. The next night that was it. He picked up. He's an unbelievably quick learner at games.
Yeah, mental.
And then, this is the first time that he'd ever been involved in anything like this, so it was all new to him. Common, we would com bits when we were playing too, but mostly we were just chatting bollocks about football and other things, or bowls that we play together. And so that he just, and it shows in his numbers, he just grew.
I mean, he went from barely be able to hit the ball on the floor when we first started playing, cat being because their speed. It's literally hitting double. I think he hit a few doubles.
Yeah.
Backboard doubles.
But that is my true pick for would be for most improved would probably have to be Cheeky because he just did improve the most, I think. But that is obviously, we see the improvement week in, week out. Oh, that was a cheeky wink. I caught that
I knew you'd catch it.
Oh,
Bro, I literally just put the stream up on my monitor.
Kylian sent the little emoji into chat, and I already knew what referencing from last week.
Yeah.
Caught in 4K.
But yeah, does anyone else have any questions about season 1 or anything they want to reminisce, any stories they want to tell?
Not really.
Nope.
What about you, Jess?
Not. I'll keep thinking, but I'm not about.
Well, anyway, I want to bring up just one thing again about, seeing as we're speaking about season 1, I'm going to bring up about the cup that I'm going to start up in 2 weeks.
Yes.
So I have made a rule today for the cup. I've thought about this over the last few days, and that finished gaming will be playing together in the cup to round up that 12th team that we needed. And yes, it won't be fair. It'll be 2 champs or 2 GCs or 3 GCs, because I don't know where Bonk's level is.
He's not. I mean, he's hit GC, but
Yeah,
depends. I wouldn't say like.
And that leads to the rule that the previous winner of BGCS, so for example, this one, season 1, if you win season 1, you are guaranteed a spot in the next season's cup. So it doesn't. There's no rank basis for that team. They sort of get all rules for ranks taken away from them.
It's
It's a-
play. He's asking.
What was that?
Shubi's asking if he can play.
Well, you're not in a team, Subi,
Oh yeah.
and this is just teams from the league. Yeah, this isn't like the Christmas Cup we done. This is a cup that runs alongside for the league for players that are in. My cameras went all out of focus.
Focus right now. Oh no.
Hopefully that works. But yeah, so
Yeah, it's all
so
the
yeah. Because I was going to say, because most teams I think that are going to win the league are most likely going to break up, and it's a way for them to stay involved in the next again season, because they won't be able to participate in the league. For example, if Euphoria win the league, we won't be a team anymore because Aqua will be GC. If Juice 2.0 win it, they won't be a team because Taku will be classed as GC. And there's probably many other teams that will get that along the way. There's a good chance Clinical, there's a good chance Jonah or Brooksie could hit GC in this season.
Velocity, Toxo,
Yeah, Toxo's GC.
Vision X with Brian and GCI.
GCI,
I think all teams, to be fair, this season they've got at least one extra person that's gone from champ to GC already.
So yeah, Cryptic, we will encourage your team to play you in the cup because you're a sub for Vision X.
Yeah, sub. We're trying to pull.
We're trying to encourage, the subs to play, because that gives the subs something to play in.
Does that mean? Does that mean the return of GT the Gamer, Jazz? Big Greg.
I should have done an honourable mention for best player of season 1. To be honest, with raking stats like that, I mean, how can you not?
Big Greg's return.
Yeah, he's more than welcome if he wants to play and get involved in a game, because it is group games, so there will be free. You're guaranteed free games.
Okay.
Fine.
Yeah.
So you are welcome. The team, the invited team, shall we call them, they're welcome to play whatever they want.
Yeah, I'm quite excited for this because I think the boys haven't really played that much since BGCS. I mean, me and Ertzy play quite a bit, but Aina's been playing other games and stuff. So the return of Finish is going to be big.
I'm actually going to put a rule in now that a sub has to play at least one league match,
if possible.
if possible. Yeah, if they're available to play, because all the league matches will be done in one day or 1 week. So.
I mean, you're getting cooked to my team.
So that will be a rule, but that's not a rule to you, Jazz, because you're the invited team. We don't know if Greg wants to play, he's welcome to play. If he's not, then it will just be the three of you.
Yeah. I'll drop him a message. I don't know. I won't expect him there, but
Big
I'll
Gregory.
let him know. Big Greg.
But yeah, so that's us on game week 4 now. So the cup will start
Next week.
Well, game week 5 I was going to do it, so it would be, so game week 4 is Thursday the 2nd. So yeah, it'll be Tuesday and Wednesday the 7th and 8th will be when Group A will be.
Okay.
And obviously in that time Group A will be drawn and we'll release all that
Yeah.
and we'll update you over the next sort of 2 weeks
Nice.
in the Discord.
Yeah, I think it adds in, yes, something else into yes. We kind of run it as the football aspect with the table this season. You have 3 points for a win, 0 points for a loss, and I think it's nice to have that little bit of a cup competition as well.
Yeah, I'd say I much prefer the way it works now with the scoring compared to last season.
Yeah, it's all trial and error. We're always looking to improve, we're always looking for suggestions. So even if boys play in the cup and you want to suggest some changes or you think something else would work better, we're always open to suggestions because we're always looking to improve. We're always looking to make it the best we can. We want to be the best out there. We want to put the best display on as much as possible.
As long as it's not demo caps.
Yeah, we might.
No, we're adding that. If you get
we're
more
adding-
than
we're
5,
adding-
you get banned.
We're adding that into the cup. Did we not tell you?
If you get more than 5, you forfeit the game.
Yeah, that was the rule we weren't going to tell you about, Jazz.
Yeah.
Finish gaming are allowed
I
in.
know would love that.
Finished are allowed in.
But you're limited to 3 demos
lovely
again.
singing that. Again.
That's still that is the most ridiculous idea that anyone has seriously put forward. I don't mind outing them. Revers. That is the craziest. How you'd even
we were, to be honest.
that would be a logistical nightmare to try and even keep up with how many demos people have got in
You have
game.
to have a bit of paper in it.
I think what's mental is the rest of his team, even Lampo included, was like, "You mental?
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean a demo cap?
I mean,
No,
Mate, I'll
not
just
gonna
keep accidentally walking in front of people.
and
Yeah, fact,
exactly.
yeah.
That it just wouldn't work.
yeah.
But yeah, so it's always going to be exciting. We're always wanting to add. We're always wanting to. I think the cup, this season is going to be exciting. It's going to be something different, and we are naming it.
Confectionery cup.
Yes.
The Confectionery Cup. So obviously we are sponsored by Kev's Confectionaries. And most sports-based things are named after the sponsor with the cups, and that's what we've kind of gone with is the Confectionery Cup. Kev still gets the outing of being the sponsor of BGCS. And it's going to be entertaining, enjoyable.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and I repeat, Brooksie is nothing. Well, Brooksie has something to do with this, but nothing to do with if you have any questions
Me or Carl.
or any complaints, me or Reptic. Do not hassle Brooksie about this.
Because if you do, he's going to message us asking the same question you messaged him. So
Yeah.
It happened with the Christmas Cup. A lot of you asked me, "What about this? What about that?" I don't know. Like, it's not my rules I've set. It's part of BGCS, but it's not my rules. These guys wanted to set it up, and fair play to them. They thank you. You know, it's a big task off my hands of, you know, something else is being implemented without me having to take time out and, you know, put it all together. And, you know, it's a big thing that adds to everything, but I haven't got the time to do these kind of things as well as everything else. But yeah, so just what Kyle and Reptic say, you know, if there's any questions, go and speak to these two about the cup, because I know the ins and outs to a certain extent, but the further developed rules, I don't know. But yeah, something that we haven't done is score predictions. Obviously, if we've got no more questions or anything else to ask for, you know, season 1 or for Jazz to ask, is just run over, you know, score predictions. Do it every season.
Every season.
Yeah, I was going to say every season. I almost messed.
But
yeah.
Are we gonna do it where we just go through one game each, or we're just gonna say all of them?
One game each, I think.
Yeah, we'll just do each game as it is on the spreadsheet.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I'd say.
So there's Vision X and Euphoria. Who wants to take the limelight first?
I'm gonna say 3-2 Euphoria.
I'm also gonna say 3-2 Euphoria.
Yeah, let's go.
I'm gonna go for a 3-2 Vision X.
Oh,
I'm going for the
Awful.
same 3-2 Vision X.
I'm going to
Get out
go
the call.
for 3-1 to Euphoria.
I heard a V there and I got worried, Kyle.
Yeah, I was winding that. I was doing it to wind you up. Yeah, I'm going to go 3-1 Euphoria.
Oh,
Oh.
it's gonna be a 5-game. I do think Euphoria take it. You know,
Yes, come
if Vision play the way that they played last week, you know, obviously with GCI dropping and, you know, obviously Brian and Dwarf having to pick up that little bit of a slack, I don't think they can do that against Euphoria. They're gonna pressure every little ounce that they've got. They're gonna keep on pressuring all the way through the games, and you know, I don't think they get chance to let off and, you know, let a player slump down and, you know, them have to pick up the pieces. It's going to be a hard one. So I think
Okay.
So we've got Resurrection and Fearless 5 up.
Resurrection is Christian's team, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
But they do lose Faceway as well. So Aspect doesn't.
Yep.
I'm
gonna go for I'm gonna go for Fearless 5-3-1.
Yep.
I'm gonna go
Fearless 5-3-0.
I'm gonna go Fearless 5-3-1.
I'm going for Fearless 5-3-0.
Yeah, I'm going Fearless 5-3-0 just because, well, one, I don't know anything about Resurrection's sub-champ, and also I think the losing Aspect is
Mental.
is a momentum, just kills all their momentum that they had from that great win this week.
I like how the player from Resurrection Christians just said in chat. Yeah, fair. I'm also Fearless 5-3-0.
Yeah, just if you still had Faceway or Aspect, I would definitely say that you win that 3-2, maybe 3-1. But yeah, with not having Faceway there, and I'm not even sure if you know who your sub is, Christian.
I don't think you've decided yet. I haven't had anything anyway. But yeah, I say Resurrection. Not Resurrection. Yeah, Fearless 5-3.
And I think, like, I'm gonna say, like Christian, if we're all saying that you need to prove us wrong, that's the thing, you know. Like, show us that you're better with your team.
Doesn't Resurrection have to play Johnny?
No, because Johnny joined and then straight up left.
Oh, he's still in the spreadsheet.
But yeah, you know, and I think for Resurrection, you know, obviously we've gone based on, you know, you haven't got a sub, you know, we don't know anything about the new player that's going to come in, and I think, you know, you find that right player, you find that similar to player to aspect, and you're able to get a couple of games in before the game day, I think it gives you guys, a lot of room to prove us all wrong.
Yeah, I
But
mean, it's a bit of an
us-
unknown, and we're only going off what
Yeah.
what
So as it stands right now, we've all had to, kind of go with Fearless 5 on this one. So moving on, we've got Velocity and G-Force.
I am gonna say 3-2 to G-Force, but only if Shizney and Flair play. If Shizney, Flair, and Vaisui, if they three play together, I think they've got a good chance of winning that 3-2. And I think if it's not, even put Arjun in for Flair, they've got a chance of winning that. But if Shizney and Flair don't play, Velocity win that easy.
Yeah, I take the same as Kyle.
I put 3-2 Velocity.
I agree with Reptic.
I'm gonna go 3-2 GeForce.
Yeah, the base story of whether Shizney plays, whether Vaisuri stays and plays, I think is a big twist on G-Force. If they can get their main starter together, I'm saying 3-2 G-Force. But if they don't manage to get that main squad together, they don't manage to get starting chemistry. At the end of the day, Flair, Shizney, Vaisui, all play scrims. They've all played them practice games and got to know each other, so the chemistry there is there for them boys. But if they don't play that team, it can go Velocity's way. But for the starter, I'm gonna go with 3-2 G-Force, and more than likely, it depends on the day. Prediction lineups. So next up, we've got Clinical and Atlantis.
3-0. We're gonna keep the 3-0s going. Yeah.
Yeah, 3-0 Atlantis. I agree with that, Reptic.
Oof.
Yeah, I
3-0
can't.
Clinical. Keep it
Yeah,
on.
I can't see anything but a 3-0 Clinical
Same.
on what I've seen.
100%.
Yeah, I'm going for trio as well. For us.
I mean, now I gotta say 3-0.
You
I
don't
just gotta pop off. That's
Yeah,
the thing.
that makes
You're
sense.
playing.
Pop off now.
Yeah, you've got to pop off warming that bench up.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, it might be time for Cheeky to take the place here, because I'm going to say 3-1 Clinical.
Well, get out.
Yeah,
By all
I
means.
was thinking the same, so it's not weird.
yeah,
That's
I
fine.
can
Because I
see
think
that.
then
I can
maybe
see them getting a game.
Yeah.
Depending on how we all play, at the end of the day, I had a bad game last week. You yourself, Reptic, you even agreed that you had a bad week
Yep.
yourself. If we continue that kind of form, we're gonna lose. We're gonna lose a game eventually, and we're gonna drop a game at some point. So I'm saying.
Yep, fair enough.
Fair enough.
So we've got Juice and Miracle up next.
That's a tough one.
I'm going Juice 3-2.
And I think Bale's back, if that sways anybody's
No,
thoughts.
3-2 Juice.
3-2 Miracle.
3-0 Juice.
Oof.
Yeah,
Hey,
I thought I was going to be ballsy,
Yeah.
but I'm with Jazz. I'm going 3-0 Juice.
I'm going
As well.
3-1 Miracle.
Very varying ones there.
All throw me off. I'm gonna. I didn't expect it to be so different with this one. But yeah, I think the way that Juice played this week, depends on, it kind of depends on whether Aaron or we play, but they played very well this week. Taku, showed a little bit more what he's about this season. It's not compared to season 1, how he was. I'm gonna point out, mentality wise for season 1 wasn't great for him. But season 2, you've admitted it yourself, Kyle. You played against him, and it's the best you've ever, best person that you've ever played that version of Taku.
Yeah.
So I do think they'll take it 3-1. Yeah, 3-1. As long as they keep that mentality up, as long as Taku can play, with that new version Taku. I reckon they win it 3-1. But a little insight to you guys is I've heard that Luminity might fill in for Eclipse. Whether that changes anybody's prediction.
No.
No,
Ah.
I think Luminity is showing great
Mhm.
promise.
This is something that I wanted to point out as well. Is Luminity is gonna get his chance at some point, and when he does, he needs to take that, because the clips that I've seen him do, obviously, certain ones are just free play ones, but from the Luminity that I've seen at the start of joining this community to the Luminity that I'm seeing now is beyond
Wait,
a
who's
different
he
player.
taking over? Who's he replacing?
Clips.
Eclipse. So Eclipse
What, from
is
Lotus? Oh, fucking hell, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
but yeah,
You're on a different planet, mate.
Luminate is trying to prove, I think, to his team, with the clips and the improvement that he's doing, he's trying to prove that, do I get a chance in this? Yeah. Maybe it's the week to try it.
That's only a good thing to have if you have, because there's a lot of teams that have a sub that is literally just there to be a sub.
Yeah.
Like Clinical has Cheeky, who is literally just not there to challenge you or Jonah. He's just there to back up in case Jonah's at work one game and can't make it. Because let's be honest, you're always going to be there, Brooksies. You stream it, so you're not going to miss a game. And then the same with us. We just have Walshy there as a backup, and it's the same with you, Jazz. You wanted to be just in case we needed you.
Yeah.
But there's teams that need that competitiveness, because that's only, especially in the champ spot, that's the only way that the champs are going to get better, is if they have someone breathing down their neck. And I think that's the perfect example of it there, is Eclipse and Luminity, very equal players that will push each other to get better. And I think that can only be a good thing for Juice. And I think that you'll see Juice get better and better every week because of that.
Yep.
I think that's something that, for people to take into season 3 is, pinpoint the people that are trying from substitute spot, is, the people that are trying and maybe don't get their chance, maybe they don't want to rotate, teams that don't want to rotate. Maybe look at them players and think, we're gonna give that player a try. Like Luminity, say he doesn't play the rest of this season, not saying that he won't, saying that he will. But say he doesn't play for the rest of this season, that's a player you've got to look at for season 3 as a new forming team, or a team that you're putting together, whether that be a team that's already here and you're just trying to pick up new champs because certain players have had to leave it higher ranks. Surely that's a player that you look at and think, right, he's not played all season, but he's improved drastically. We're going to give him a chance. He can come into our starting lineup, and I think there's a couple of them this season that will probably push for that spot, but maybe teams don't want to rotate because it's close at the top of the table. The chemistry's already there with certain players. And obviously, as weeks go on, chemistry's only getting bigger for them players, and it's hard to rotate someone in if you're not getting scrims, you're not active. I think that at some point we're going to have to cover this. Is what players do you reckon that are going to be standout players, but as improvement wise, as we know, play like Luminity, like I say, Luminity is that main player I know has improved a drastic amount, but who could then move on to the team, just because he doesn't get picked.
And that's the thing, like, if you're gonna take that risk, you're gonna maybe even be more unpredictable with the new teammate you got in your team now. Like, you never played with him, but still you can get way much better maybe with the team, with a new teammate. Like,
Yeah, 100%. I mean, sometimes I think a bit of unpredictability is what a team needs to like.
yeah.
You hear that, reptic? You hear that?
Hello.
Use that to your advance. Just saying. Just saying.
Something that we pointed out, as unpredictability, say the word, for the team is velocity. As Trident Trident's so unpredictable with what he goes for. You know, it works for velocity. You know, some teams won't be able to work with that, but you know, if you pinpoint that out, Trident is that player that does push out and change the way he plays, of whether he goes for a flip reset. You know, he's getting that more mechanical based player, so becoming that unpredictable player in himself, and it works for velocity. But yeah, I think that wraps up the week. Any more questions that anyone wants to ask?
Well, the only thing I was going to say is potentially could be the first week that the bye gets a win.
Probably.
I mean,
They should be
fair
fine with
enough,
their
I-
match.
No, that was just a joke. That was just a joke.
Oh, it's a joke. Oh,
Joke to Team
Whole
Lotus.
Team Lotus is going to Kyle right now. It's like, why did you say that, man? Why?
why are you gonna be like that?
That's so rude. That's so rude.
Yeah,
And Kyle will be like, that's just a joke.
I
guys."
thought I'd finish off with a wee joke.
I've got
I
a
mean, I love the
question.
joke.
Come on.
What's a game that you think, like, your predictions? Obviously, but you've done our predictions for the game. But what's a game you think could go the complete opposite to what you thought, what you voted for?
Juice and Team Miracle for me.
I mean, I said 3-0 for that. I mean,
that could be 3-0 to Team Miracle.
Yeah.
I'm sort of going out on a whim here on that one. That's my ropey.
Yeah.
I think Resurrection.
That's a good one, to be fair.
I'm gonna say, I think there's,
25.
we mentioned it at the start a little, but I think there's a lot of games this week that could potentially go either way. Obviously, I know you're confident, Kyle. I know you're confident with the team that you've got, but I think that game could go the opposite way if Vision X do turn up and have their their perfect day that they've been having.
Yeah, definitely.
Fearless 5 Resurrection, Fearless 5 have slowly grown into their new team. We've seen it a little bit more this week of being a bit more confident. They've rotated. They've used Rex instead of Tornado. They're even swapping out their GC to prove a point that we can use our subs as well. Doesn't matter. We are pretty much a good chemistry side, whoever we play.
And if you do that,
and that's an honourable mention. I want to go for Team of the Week. Just a wee is Rex for Fearless 5 for his first game in to a brand new team. He put in a great performance and really sort of stole the show for Fearless 5. And definitely watch out for him. And that's another good thing is he'll push Tornado.
Yep.
They two are just going to get better as each other grow together.
Yeah, I think there's multiple games, but I think what you said is Juice Miracle. That could literally go either way. It could be a 3-0 Miracle, 3-0 Juice. Just depends on who turns up on that one. Yeah.
I said Fearless 5 Resurrection.
I'm going with Lotus and Miracle.
Huh?
I mean, I was gonna go with Vision X Warrior, but I said Vision X win that. But I mean, it could go both ways.
Yeah.
You mean Juice?
But just because you said the complete...
The guy said Lotus. Bro, oh, I'm not in a good shape tonight.
Just because you said the complete opposite, Reptic is why I chose Miracle and Juice, because I went for such a bold 3-0 to Juice. I think the complete opposite could be 3-0 to Team Miracle. I think you're guaranteed a close either way game with us and Vision X.
Yeah, I mean, I literally think it's going to go down to whoever gets the best shots. I mean, I think that seems obvious, but I mean, I literally think it's going to go down to that line.
And I mean, even us against Atlantis can go horribly wrong.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't
if
seen
we
much
don't
from
turn
them.
up, like we're gone.
we haven't seen much from them. What's scary because I mean they could literally just come out of nowhere, or you know.
Yeah.
No, it's
I mean,
what
that's the thing about this season. The teams are close, right? So upsets are going to be they're not
Upsets are
going
on
to
the
be
cards.
uncommon. I don't think.
But that's why I'll be playing because Reptic can't handle that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reptic's ego can't take any more chipping away.
But yeah, definitely. There's a few upsets that can happen. I say each week, Atlantis have got so much potential with their team. As long as they get to play together and actually develop together, then it could be a good team. But until they do that and build on that chemistry, there's still going to be that individual player brilliance.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean that's it from myself.
Any chat questions in the chat? They don't got anything.
Oh, I'm dying on the toilet.
What the?
I mean, yeah, that's pretty much me. I think we've covered all areas. I think we've covered everything.
Yup.
So thank you for coming on, Jazz. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're a good guest.
Never know, we might have you on for when the cup.
Yeah.
You might end up coming back on. We may
Yeah.
maybe have all the boys back on.
Yeah.
As
That'd be good.
as a group team catch up. But yeah, until next week, that's it from me. I shall catch you all soon.
Yes, good night, everybody.
Good
Have a
night,
good
everybody.
weekend. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.